investors and making sure that you're securing those opportunities, which are definitely readily available right now and going into the new year. Gord has been in the business for over 30 years. He's acquired both residential and commercial real estate in Ontario, British Columbia, Alberta, Michigan, Florida, Arizona, and Texas. Gord has been a real estate agent, an investor, an author, a real estate investment trainer, teaching over 25,000 students in Canada and the US. Gord has partnered with numerous industry leaders such as Robert Schuman, I hope I said that correctly, New York Times bestselling author, Bill Rancic, the first apprentice winner, and Chris Johnson, U.S. real estate mogul, which served as the foundation for him founding the Real Estate Investment Institute. A published author, regular contributor to Canadian Real Estate Wealth magazine, the REIN report, and REM magazine, Gord is regarded as an industry pioneer, expert, and thought leader. Gord, I don't know where that came from. Gord, welcome. We're so happy to have you here today, and we're excited to get started.
Thank you. Yes, my mother called me Gordon only when she was mad at me, though. Thank you, Kathleen. And thank you, everybody, for being here. First, I want to congratulate everybody for being here. I understand your time's incredibly valuable, and I'm committed to delivering a webinar that offers real value, insights, and actionable strategies to enhance your real estate business in this coming year. So throughout this webinar, I encourage you to participate actively by asking questions in the chat, and I will address them during our dedicated Q&A session at the end. So your input is valuable, and I'm here to provide you with practical insights and solutions to your specific challenges. Also, I would like for you to put in the chat your social media handles. And I just want to highlight our Instagram handle is re.investment.institute. So take note of that and please follow us. You can also join our weekly newsletter by putting your email address in the chat and put NL for newsletter beside it. So you know our newsletter covers topical info and how agents can continuously stay informed and build their businesses. So without further preamble, welcome to Unlocking Success in 2024 and beyond. And my goal today, again, is to provide you with tools, knowledge, and confidence to thrive in the ever-evolving world of real estate. And I'm going to present this webinar in 3 parts and kind of bring it all together at the end. And we're going to be exploring the challenges and opportunities that 2024 might bring and introduce you to ideas to transform the way you do business in 2024 and beyond. But first, let's recap a few 2023 highlights and lowlights. So the first and most recent development is noticeably that the Bank of Canada interest rate remained unchanged, which I don't think is a surprise to anyone. But even though there was no mortgage rate change, there's still a very concerning environment when it comes to mortgages and affordability. I pulled a few recent headlines, beginning with this one. As millions of mortgages approach renewal, what Canada's real estate market, what will it look like? And a report released by Rolla Page suggests that over 3 million Canadians are facing mortgage renewals in the next 18 months. And many can expect significantly higher monthly payments as a result. CMHC estimates that the average monthly mortgage payments could increase by an estimated 30 to 40% as mortgages come up for renewal over the next few years. And this is causing anxiety amongst homeowners, some who told CBC News that they expect to make significant lifestyle changes to accommodate this higher cost. Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland expects banks will follow a new series of rules and guidelines designed to protect Canadian homeowners, millions of whom are set to renegotiate their loans at potentially higher rates. Now, here's one main solution. The Charter, which does not have the force of law, Includes measures including the ability to temporarily extend amortization periods, ending a stress test when switching lenders at the time of renewal, and waiving some fees. Now, I want to highlight this amortization period aspect that they're talking about. So check this out. This is a CBC article about one of every 5 home loans. So that's 20% of home loans at the big Canadian banks are now negatively amortizing, which happens when years get added to the payment term of the original loan because the monthly payments are no longer enough to cover anything but the interest. So instead of a standard 25-year loan, the mortgage is stretched out to 35, 40, or even more years. And with roughly, and hear my words here, 100,000 mortgages coming up for renewal in Canada every month. I want to say that again. 100,000 mortgages are coming up for renewal every single month. More amortization extensions are on the way. So think about a consumer who bought a house at, say, 32 years of age and has a mortgage that they're paying interest only on for the next 47 years, which makes them almost 80 years old by the time they're just paying the interest on the debt. Now, I get that rates are going to change over time, but the extended amortizations are exacerbating a debt issue in this country, which is very, very significant. Now, as mentioned, CMHC estimates that the average monthly mortgage payments are going to increase by 30 to 40%. But they also mention that there's been a noticeable uptick in mortgage delinquencies year over year, especially when compared to other types of debt. And speaking of other types of debt, Equifax, the credit report bureau, despite a sluggish mortgage market, non-mortgage debt, i.e. credit card debt, this growth showed signs of slowing because people are allocating more money towards rising mortgage payments. And they go on to say this burden of high monthly mortgage costs has made many financially vulnerable, leading to a rise in mortgage delinquencies, especially in Ontario and BC. And in these regions, get this, delinquencies are spiking at a rate of 86% year over year. So that's pretty shocking. And Karen Uleski of RE/MAX was on a CTV interview, and she predicts for 2024 higher inventory levels, a drop in median sales prices, and an increase in the average number of days that homes are spending on the market. So I have a question for you, and I want you to put this in the chat, and I'll give you the nod to do that in a second. So based on these forecasts, how many of you think that there'll be any motivated sellers who realize that they can't afford mortgage payments? So put a yes, you feel there'll be motivated sellers coming up in 2024, or no, you think that there won't. So just put a Y or an N in the chat. Are we seeing anything there? Kathleen?
We are not yet. David helped us with a correction, but I'm waiting for some chat responses. Gord, do you want to repeat the question?
Sure. How many of you think that there will be motivated sellers putting their houses on the market when they realize they can't afford their new mortgage payments?
Okay, some people are having trouble with the chat, and I will try to look into that because from what I can see, you guys should be able to interact with it. So for now, let's use the Q&A feature because I can see you guys there. They're saying it's showing disabled, which it should not be. So in Q&A, how many people think that sellers, repeat it one more time, Gord?
That there'll be motivated sellers who realize they can't afford their mortgage payments any longer.
That there'll be motivated sellers who realize they cannot afford their payments anymore. So we've got Catherine Innes is saying definitely more motivated sellers. Another yes, John Raymond. Hi, Catherine. Hi, John. Alicia says lots of them.
Very good. Thank you for that. And I definitely agree with you. Now, I just want to throw this out there that real estate investors are always on the lookout for deals, and challenging market conditions can often lead to precisely those opportunities they seek. And when discussing high interest rates, highlight that these rates can make it challenging for home buyers, but they can also mean more motivated sellers that are potentially leading to better deals for home buyers and for investors. So with home ownership affordability being a major concern in Canada, more Canadians are renting or being forced to rent than ever before. So here's an article stating a sad reality in Canada, that Canada is becoming a nation of renters. In fact, over 1/3 of Canadians rent, and this number is much higher in the larger cities like Vancouver and the GTA. And this RBC article states that Canada's shortage of rental housing could quadruple by 2026. That's only 2 years away of the rental housing shortage quadrupling. And so we are clearly in a rental market crisis. This Global News article stating that Canada's rental market is facing a perfect storm as prices hit new high, that's rental prices in July. And this BBC article, and granted it's from 2022, but it's stating that, and I think we all know this, that Canada is bringing in 1.5 million immigrants by 2025. And there's other data supporting that this statistic is definitely on the lower side. Now, we all know a large amount of these immigrants who come to Canada settle in major centers like the GTA, and for the most part need to rent. And this exacerbates an already desperate housing shortage. And rentership is continuing to climb across all age groups and demographics. So you can see by this chart that it's not just the 25 to 35 kind of range. Across all demographics, rentership is increasing. And in fact, in Canada, this RBC article from late 22 identified an increase of almost 1 million new renters over the last decade. And for agents in Ontario, 2/3 of that growth is actually in your own backyard. So that's a lot of rent, a lot of renters, and a lot of investors. And investors are the people who are buying the properties to house this growing renter demographic. And just a couple characteristics of an investor. So investors, they don't need a life event to purchase. They're always looking for their next deal. They're not emotional buyers. As long as the numbers work, they are buying. And now you may be saying to yourself, sure, Gord, I understand this, but aren't investors having to buy in this high rate environment? And to that I say, yes, but I also want you to consider this. I come back to this Warren Buffett quote, which is the investor's motto, which states, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. Now, here's another question I'd like you to participate in. And simple yes or no. How many of you think the general public are fearful right now? Put a yes or a no.
Alicia says yes. Catherine says yes. Robert says some are. I think it's Manuela or Manuel says yes.
Perfect. Great.
Manuela, there, it was cutting off your name. Anisha says yes. So almost a consensus, except for Robert thinks some.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys for that. So when the public is fearful, you have to know that these are times when investors thrive and get good deals, and they're sitting with cash on the sidelines, waiting for times exactly like this to happen. So, but it is certainly important to acknowledge that high interest rate concerns are very real and often at the forefront of homeowners and potential investors' minds. So, however, as real estate professionals, we can provide valuable insights and strategies to navigate these challenges. But it's essential to remember that these challenges are also they also present unique opportunities for buyers such as real estate investors. So for instance, in markets where housing affordability is concerned, like the GTA, as mentioned, rental properties become attractive to a growing population of renters who can't afford to buy homes. So real estate investors can leverage this trend by acquiring properties that cater to this demographic. And high demand for rentals can lead to consistent and profitable rental income over time. And real estate has historically seen as an excellent hedge against inflation because inflation erodes the purchasing power of money, but real assets like properties tend to appreciate at least at the rate of inflation over time. So investors can convey this to convey to potential clients that and you can convey to potential clients that real estate can act as a safeguard against the impact of inflation on their wealth because it's way better than sitting just in a bank account. And you can also encourage non-real estate investors, like stock market investors, to consider diversifying their portfolios with real estate investments because real estate can provide a tangible and stable asset class, which is not as susceptible to market volatility as opposed to a stock market type of investment. And of course, it is crucial to educate your potential clients about the long-term benefits of real estate investing. High inflation and housing affordability issues, yes, they may persist, but this also is a strategic choice for building wealth. And conducting thorough market research to identify areas where rental demand remains strong and potential deal opportunities exist. And this is what we train all of our students to do. And obviously finding sellers who are motivated is one of those opportunities that will exist for the next few years because of this high rate environment. And lastly, you need to be able to explain to a client the strong return on investment real estate provides over time, especially when rental rates are high, where mortgage paydown occurs and appreciation potential exists. So it's not just about cash flow. You have to know that there are up to 8 profit centers. Cash flow is just one. Buying a pre-construction condo is basically a single profit center. It's an appreciation play only. Rental real estate provides up to 8 profit centers. And explaining this allows you to convey that it is not just about cash flow or somebody having a bit of negative cash flow, but there are other profit centers that exist within real estate that far exceed and will supersede even having a negative cash flow issue. Okay, part 2 of this webinar is coming down to promoting yourself on social media. Now, how many of you promote yourself on social media? I suppose I can get a lot of hands up here. I know, and for sake of time, I'll just assume that you do, because a lot
They're
of
saying
agents,
yes.
yes, of course, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But a lot of agents are finding challenges with effectiveness of social media. And as marketing is so important to agents, I want to take a moment here and provide some insight here and then tie it into our topic. So consider this. There are currently approximately 60,000 active listings on Treb, and there are over 4 million people in the GTA, meaning that there's 1.5% of the population who is currently actively decided to sell and then buy a property. And if we can agree that another 60,000 are only looking to buy without selling, that basically translates to only 3% of people who would consider themselves actively in the market. So if we consider this, that there are a whopping 96,000 realtors in Ontario vying for 3% of the population, I'm not a gambling man, but I think those are pretty low odds. So if only 3% of the population have made a decision to be in the market, that means that 97% of the market remains untapped. And if the 97% have not made a decision to be in the market, then from their perspective, your position as a realtor is you're not relevant to them. And in terms of the 97%, who am I speaking of? Well, I want to introduce you to some everyday individuals. I'm going to call them Ray and Nidhi. And Ray and Nidhi are busy parents caught up in daily routines. They're going to soccer, they're going to hockey practice, they're going to dance lessons, all of these things. And they're paying very little attention to the real estate market. And they skim past monthly market updates and you're just sold and you're just listed posts. Well, they're just not landing on people like this. And I want to prove it to you. So how many of you post on Instagram? Can I see some yeses in the chat? How many of you post on Instagram?
We have yes, all day. Yes.
All day, okay.
And I do.
Okay, so let me ask you this. How many have more than 1,000 followers on Instagram? Anybody out there with over 1,000 followers?
Yeah, John does.
Awesome. Okay, to the Johns out there.
As well.
Okay, excellent. Mm-hmm. So, and even if you don't, I want to ask you this. How many of those followers that you have are fellow realtors? And I want to consider the fact that I bet that this number is quite a few. And why? Because realtors naturally follow what other realtors are doing. And this creates a cycle where your posts are mainly reaching your peers. And this is the FOMO effect. And it's huge in the industry. But what about the 97% of potential clients who haven't decided to be in the market? Well, that algorithm that is, conveyed by Instagram, it doesn't favor your communication or the message that you're trying to bring to the table. So what can you do about it? How can you communicate differently and leverage social media and your email marketing and other forms of outreach that you use to connect? But how do you connect with this 97%? So if you implement what I'm about to say in your business, I guarantee that you'll be planting seeds and creating perhaps one of your best years yet. So you're going to transform your approach and add tremendous value to that 97%. And to achieve this, I want to dive into the concept of retail clients, what we call it, the Real Estate Investment Institute, retail clients who are home buyer, home seller clients versus investor clients. And hang with me because I'm going to show you how to add more value and become more relevant in the eyes of the algorithm. So Ray and Nidhi are part of this 97% of the untapped market. And they're what we call those retail clients, right? So, and these clients, they move like 3 or 4 times over a 20-year period and always for their primary residence. So what does that mean? Well, they're uplifting their lives to pack. They're canceling and switching utilities. They're moving school districts. You get the picture. It's one of the most stressful times in people's lives. But investors are different because investors are number driven, right? It's no emotions, just numbers, no moving boxes, just transactions and repeat transactions and way more than 3 or 4 in their lifetime. And I want to bring that to customer lifetime value and understanding how much money a customer will spend in a business over that business's relationship with that client over a lifetime will help a business understand their profitability and be able to make key decisions moving forward as a result. And it's no different than an agent's business. And I want to consider the retail client, the home buyer, home seller. Let's say you have a 20-year relationship with them involving 4 transactions, which translates into commissions. And for ease of numbers, let's use $1 million property because it's easy to figure out the commission rate, right? So at 2.5%, that's $25,000. And if you do 4 of those transactions, that's $100,000. And even if you double end a number of those deals, let's say you even double end 7 of those deals, that's 175,000, which is huge, right? But we know investor clients are worth substantially more than retail clients. And I wanted you to think about how that changes how you communicate with everyone, because it's not just focusing on the 3% that are ready to buy and sell. This is focusing on everybody, right? So if we consider an investor will do a number of deals, right, over 20 years, if you consider that they do 2 deals per year, okay, 2 deals per year over that 20 years. And that is not a pie in the sky amount. I did way more than 2 deals per year for many years of my real estate investing career. And I know many investors out there who are always looking for their next deal and are prepared to do that. So let's say, for instance, you do 40 transactions over 20 years. So we're looking at $1 million of commission, right? And investors also live in principal residences too, right? So you would be adding perhaps 100 or another 175,000 on top of that. So that is huge, isn't it? So now we know that investor clients are worth substantially more than retail clients. Think about how that changes how you communicate with everybody. So not just focusing on the 3% of that low-hanging fruit that are ready today to buy or sell. No, we want to advance the growth of the 97%. And by focusing on clients and talking about wealth building, you can completely reshape your communication strategy, engaging this 97% in wealth building conversations. And as professionals, it's our duty to bring value and due diligence and concrete knowledge to consumers. And as a result, we at the Real Estate Investment Institute know that investor clients become lifetime clients because you are adding meaningful value to their lives. And Ray and Needy are currently sitting in your network right now, completely untapped. So the question is, how will you add value? Well, life is expensive, right? And most values are looking for their way to financial freedom. And everyday people like Ray and Nettie could get one step closer to financial freedom by harnessing the immense power of real estate investing. And you can help them do it, beginning with providing value to them. And part 3 is diving deeper into conveying your value and discussing this in the light of a very topical issue, which is the TRESA changes and the challenges. Now, without making this a TRESA training, I'd like to provide you some ideas to benefit, for you to benefit from these changes to the industry. So you're going to have to get laser focused in getting consumers to become a client as quickly as possible. Now, it doesn't have to be a formal representation agreement like a contract, doesn't have to be signed, but implied consent still needs to be given. So now realtors are going to have to give out the RICO information guide, which explains the risks, and clients must acknowledge the receipt of getting that RICO guide from you. But here's the question. What does this actually mean for you? Well, at the Real Estate Investment Institute, we teach agents how to offer this tremendous amount of value to the consumer by helping them see real estate in a different light. And our graduates help their clients attain deeper and more meaningful levels of financial success by building wealth and crushing their financial goals and looking at real estate completely from a different perspective and providing more value to the consumer, which helps move them into that client relationship a lot quicker. Now, I want to pose to you this. You know for a fact that a lot of clients are working with multiple agents. And you know that if you don't have that agreement signed, there's going to be multiple agents reaching out to your clients and talking to them about signing a client agency relationship with them, right? But consider this. Do you think those agents are talking to them about wealth building? Do you think those agents are talking to them about future-proofing their income, or about retiring earlier, about crushing their financial goals? So you can lean on these skills, and this will give you such a big edge over your competition. Tressa is trying to create a more professional environment in the industry. And what better way to do that than provide more value to your clients, to the REI and Netties of the world, and help them level up financially. This is how you're going to get ahead in this market. So with that said, what does 2024 look like for your business? And how can you flourish in that environment? Clearly projecting, an environment that's projecting doom and gloom with low consumer confidence. In fact, consumer confidence is very, very low now. And there are many potential motivated sellers now appearing on the scene. So how do we work in this environment? Well, right now is coming up to the slowest time of the year for a lot of agents. In December and January, there's lots of festivities. There's lots of people that are away. So if you're not busy in real estate, you need to stay busy by investing in yourself. And this is the time where you can massively impact your 2024. So what you do today is going to shape your future, your 2024, and will shape this year ahead. So I want to encourage you not to rest on your laurels, as it were, and maintain the status quo. No, I want you to pursue untapped potential, both your untapped potential and that untapped potential that is in the marketplace through motivated sellers that will be coming, that will be clearly coming to light. And in light of the recent Tressa regulations, conveying your expertise effectively and overcoming common obstacles, as we've spoken about in this webinar, and build long-lasting client relationships. Well, this has never been more important to sustain and grow your business. And we train our students to create a consultant approach with their clients. And that's how they build lifelong relationships with their clients. So while other realtors are focusing on market updates or kitchen choices, you have the potential to garner interested prospects looking for a concrete plan to achieve financial freedom. And you can present to every client a concrete plan, a customized blueprint, we call it, on how to achieve their financial goals by understanding where they are now financially and how much income that they need to retire comfortably on, and then reverse engineering that plan and putting that plan in motion. And what happens next is you become their realtor for life. I mean, think about asking a client or going back to your existing client base and asking them, hey, I have this new designation which allows me to discuss real estate investing with you. And let's talk about where you want to be in 10 years from now. Where do you want to be in 20 years from now? And talk about how much money they need in retirement, or how much net worth that they require, or do they want to create a legacy and pass this legacy down to their kids and their kids' kids, right? So you can have these conversations, and then you can show them by reverse engineering this whole thing, and by starting today into buying their first property as the first property on the stepping stones to create that ultimate goal for them, which may be retiring 5 years or 10 years earlier. It may be just having additional monthly income. It may be having the ability to go on more vacations or better vacations, or, buying that sports car or whatever it is. Real estate, as I can firmly communicate and substantiate, has changed my life. And I know it's changed the lives of thousands and millions of people out there. And it can change the lives of every single person that you come in contact with. And you can maintain that client relationship for life, because if you are the one that's supplying their needs to level up financially, they're not going to go anywhere else. They're adhering to the plan that you have created with them. So think about how impacting the financial trajectory of your clients can lead to a wealth of opportunities. So they'll not only become your clients for life, but also ambassadors of your brand, consuming every piece of content you share because it's relevant to their lives now. And you'll rise above all the other agents who don't carry the real estate investment specialist designation. The training not only equips you with knowledge, tools, and skills and confidence to understand investment properties and work with investors, but it also shows you how to create these custom blueprints for each client. And every client is different, so each blueprint is a custom blueprint. And you'll be able to add significant value to your clients, to your conversations, and to the algorithm, right? And the REI and Nettys of the world and Tressa will love you. So when you have this designation, I personally feel that you've won the lottery. And why do I say this? Because you'll have a designation behind your name, which allows you to call yourself a real estate investment expert and equips you to provide real value to every prospect, leveraging your value and professionalism in all your conversations and winning more clients. And this is exactly what these new Tressa regulations are for, to create more professionalism for the public, right? More value for the public. And this plays right into the hands of all of our graduates. So if you're interested in this training, which is virtually guaranteed to change your career, go to rei.institute, click on the Get Access button, which is just scrolling down a bit on the front page. And you will come to this, and it'll take you to the checkout. And we've a discount arrangement with REI, which is 10% off the $29.97 investment into your career. We know it's a sensitive time so you just have to put a REI 10 in where it's got the promo code, and you will get that discount. But we also know that it's a sensitive time for people, and we want to be able to offer a special consideration for everyone that is on this webinar. And we don't normally do this, but for this webinar, we can offer a monthly payment of $297 per month over 12 months. And if that's something that will make it easier for you, that's great. For those who think it'll be helpful to enroll in the monthly plan, you can put your email in the chat, and I'll personally reach out and make sure that we can make an exception for you guys. So don't forget, those who want the 10% discount by paying in full and saving a bit of money, you can go to rei.institute and put a REI 10 in the promo code box. Okay, so that is the end of the presentation, and we are at Q&A time. Are there any questions?
Well, thank you so much, Gord. And yeah, we're all looking forward to REI coming up. I don't know if you guys are there in Ottawa. The REI Reality Conference is coming up, which is exciting. So REI was at Kathleen Black Summit when REI was there as well, with some promos for our attendees. And I think there were still promos for our community. So I think you guys are being honored with the same with the REI. So I'm just checking here. No Q&A yet. So use the Q&A feature. I am monitoring it, so you guys can ask questions to Gord. We have a couple of minutes for that, which would be great. I'm just looking in case they're in the chat. Here we go. Catherine Innes. Hello, Catherine. I'm actually talking about your share with Top 1% Life today at the Royal LePage webinar. So I'm glad to have you here. I don't know if you're on that at 1 o'clock. And Catherine has asked, how many people have graduated this course? I would be interested in speaking with someone who has done the course.
Okay. There's been dozens of graduates, and we'd be happy to provide you somebody that you can talk to, or a few people. So happy to do that. If you can provide me your email, and I can make sure that that happens. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Any other questions? This is your chance to ask Gord live. So we want to make sure that we give a second and we get all the questions answered here. Let's see. Oh, I think David, Alexis Victor from Rolla Page. I don't know if I think you're answering Catherine's question, David, so I'm just reading it out here. Okay, and thank you. And Catherine's put her email in the chat as well. Okay.
It's got to be some questions.
You would think. Just say, don't be shy. Usually I notice that when our coaches do webinars and sessions, I get tons of questions. When I do, I don't. And I always ask why, Gordon. They always like, because it was very thorough. I was like, are you sure? So I was like, don't be scared. Gord is happy to answer all the questions. I think it's interesting. Sometimes we're taking it in and we're processing it. And then an hour later, Gord, people are like, oh, I should have asked that.
Right.
So let's just give a second. It might help prompt some questions if we have them. If you guys want to put in your chat what your takeaway is, it might prompt some questions for you or for others who are joining us here today. We'd love to hear your takeaway from this incredible session with Gord and REI Institute overall. So if you can share that with us in the chat, and if it prompts some questions, that would be fantastic. So in the meanwhile, Manuela has asked us, is this course appropriate for British Columbia and new provincial real estate rules here?
Yes. Yes, with the disclaimer that, it's a training that has been created based on what we know today. Obviously, real estate rules provincially change, but we train people to be on top of those and be able to pivot accordingly, right?
Excellent.
Now, we've talked about, the affordability level, as you guys all know, is significant. We've talked about the number of renters that are continuing to grow, and that investors are the ones that own those properties that are housing this incredibly increasing number of renters. And what's going to happen to people who have to sell their house because they can't afford their mortgage payments? They don't want to go into that extended amortization period of 40 years and only pay interest on their mortgage or very little principal and go, you know what, I was better renting, or I'm forced to rent. So now they need a place to live, right? To rent. And being able to also, and I'm just kind of highlighting parts of this webinar, conveying your value in light of these TRESA rules. Like, how are you going to stand out against the next guy who's just going, pick me because I have a nice suit and a nice car? Well, is that really the best reason to hire you? No, but if you're coming to people and talking about, if you're doing a listing presentation and you're talking about, well, what are you going to do with the profits that you receive from the sale of this property? What are you going to do with those? And then talk about, well, when do you want to retire? What are your financial needs, right? How can you parlay this profit into something more significant than just putting it in the bank, right? So these are conversations that you're able to have. And I don't think a lot of realtors are having these conversations while they're trying to win over those clients to to secure them, right?
Absolutely, which is so important. As part of this series, we had Ray Ferris from REI here talking about TRESA, and I mean, Ray did a phenomenal job. But I mean, the reality is, you can have implied representation all you want. You know, somebody from our community who has a great buyer consultation is going to meet, and in the minute they sign off on a agreement, you know, you could be working for free with implied and not get paid, and at the end lose potentially a client. And on top of it, with investors, we've said many times, it's a different vocabulary. So it's just so very important to have both of those tools in your pocket. And Jonathan Stewart has a question. So he is asking, how does your course compare to the CCIM designation?
Well, the CCIM is for commercial property, right? So we take this training takes agents who basically don't really know much about real estate investing and takes them through the whole gamut of understanding the full capacity of what many investors will be investing in. So it's not just rental property. It's taking people through all the strategies that a lot of investors utilize and taking them through understanding how to analyze property, present properties in a different way, and provide properties that adhere to that particular investor's criteria, understanding how to have conversations with people that have a lot of equity, and I call it dead equity, in their homes, and be able to leverage other people's money into starting to build a real estate portfolio. So it takes and understanding corporate structures and structures that investors have existing, if they're already existing investors and they've got corporate structure, and understanding that, because that's going to change how you present deals and how that investor will either sell deals or add another one to their portfolio. And it will also allow you to understand how to suggest ways that a first-time investor, if they've got ambitious goals, to set themselves up properly so they're able to move forward with confidence, rather than having all the properties signed into their own name, right? Bought in their own name, which opens people up to all kinds of liability. So you become a consultant along the way, and people will never go anywhere else while you are holding their hand through their wealth building life, right? So in answer to your question, this takes an agent from kind of step A all the way to Z in residential investment. And the last few chapters are dipping our toe, actually probably up to our knee, in commercial. So we're not here to make you commercial agents, but our students learn enough about commercial that they're able to have intelligent conversations with their investors, because obviously some investors are going to go from owning a few triplexes or whatever into a multi-unit property like of 20, 30 units, buying a storage facility, whatever it is, into a more commercial investment. And so the realtors better able to convey to the commercial agent a qualified investor and share in, a referral fee or what have you. I hope that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Thank you for that, Gord. And we'll have time for one more question. If you want to throw it up, give it a chance here for you guys to join. And thank you for the fantastic questions thus far. And again, we have Gord Lemon here. Behind the scenes is David Gorski, both from REI Institute, Real Estate Investment Institute. So they've spent a lot of time with people within our client community. I know as well with other people we collaborate with. And it's nice to see people with different strengths coming together to support the community, particularly now, when the economy is a bit tricky and agents are trying to navigate. And the truth is investors are trying to navigate, and buyers and sellers and, those renting, everyone's trying to navigate right now. So supporting each other with, insight and wisdom to be able to help each other move forward more confidently, that's really what we need right now. Collaboration is, in my word, queen, you might call it king, Gord, right now in this time to work together. And it's those who are doing that who are definitely moving forward. They're elevating as we move forward, I should say, versus, becoming stagnant. So very, very important. And I don't see any other questions coming up now. Gord, any parting thoughts before we wish everyone a fantastic day? And of course, we congratulate and thank you all for joining us today as well.
Yeah, I just want to say that providing your clients or prospects real value, and that value, like, everybody is looking to level up. They are in a, we're having a challenging economy right now, and providing people the chance to level up and show them concrete plans to be able to do that. Yes, even in this environment. And this is going to help you navigate the TRESA regulations and win more clients, period.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm a firm believer, those who are investing in education, those who have like a lot, we have coaching clients on here who have a strong buyer presentation, listing presentation, those who understand investor language, I think will do very well in Ontario with the TRESA changes. I actually think they'll be very, very positive for those particular communities, maybe not everybody, but those who lean in and get the resources. Absolutely. So please, if you have any further questions, I know Gord and David are amazing to reach out to. I did post their Instagram handle in the chat, so please make sure you follow them, and we will be sending out the recording. So if there's anything that Gord said that you just want to hear again or make sure you understood, it will be in there as well as the promo code to get started on this training to support you for 2024. So thanks so much for being here, Gord. We appreciate you and wish you happy holidays, because I probably won't talk to you till 2024.
That's right. And likewise, everybody have great holidays, and we'll see you in 2024.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.